Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Michael D with the Real 1%. Hope you guys are doing well today. Today, we got another veteran, fine veteran. We got Annette. She's a military spouse of 25 years. Respect to you for that. Must be, you got plenty of stories on that. She's a veteran herself, combat veteran with 17 years and 4 months of service as an Army chemical officer. She deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Oh, how fun. She retired in 2016 and unintentionally became an accidental entrepreneur. She's got a Maltese and a Yorkie over there making some noise. She is a fellow veteran advocate. She's prone to advocate for mental health awareness and shares her personal journey through various platforms. She's always getting shouted out on Facebook groups. She's an artist. She's got a song out. She focuses. She's an entrepreneur. She focuses her business podcast, The Truths We Hide, public speaking, mentoring, volunteering. She's authored her first book. It's called The Wall Between Two Lives. She manages a blog, A Wild Ride Called Life. She shares post-military life experiences, including living with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, all too familiar. She created a safe space through her podcast, which features guests who share their stories and offer advice. She actively mentors veterans on Veterati, military spouses on eMentor and Amplify, and participates in NASDAQ mentorship circle makers. She's engaged in mentoring programs with TAPS, Associated for Military Spouses, Entrepreneurs, Women Veterans Network, and Military Spouse Advocacy Network. And she also serves as a mentor, consultant, international public speaker, author, who shares her resources on mental health. So without further ado, Annette, how you doing today?
Oh my gosh. It's always funny to hear someone else read what you do. You're like, dang, I do that? No, thank you so much for having me on here. I have my two special guests, or they will add their 2 cents. So
There
here
they
they
go.
are.
And her thought, her single, I can't even speak, I don't know what's going on, it's called Cold Thoughts, and you can get it on iTunes, I believe. So everybody go listen to Cold Thoughts. Let Annette know what you like about her song. She said she's coming out with more, so be on the lookout. But I appreciate you coming on the show and just taking some time out of your day to share your experiences and your stories with fellow veterans and with the world for them to hear. And let's change the narrative for the better for the veteran community. So, what made you want to join the Army in the first place, Annette?
So I actually went to an all-girl Catholic high school.
Okay.
And I had a friend who joined, she enlisted, and I thought that was so badass. I did. I was like, oh my God, like no one ever does that out of this school. They all went to Ivy League schools or, big name schools. And so for that to happen, I was so intrigued by her decision. So I actually had a recruiter come to the house. I was about to sign the paperwork. I was sitting there with my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, should I do it? And I chickened out. So I didn't enlist, but it was in my mind for so long that when I transferred to a university out of community college, I made sure the university offered an ROTC program. So I decided to try it out. I was like, what's going to hurt? 3 years, no big deal. And then that's how it started.
Where'd you go to college at?
Arizona State University.
Oh, you party in Sun Devils right there, right? Party
Well,
school. You know it is. You know it is.
it is a party school, but I was so scared because I did have friends who would show up wasted or hungover at PT formation. I was like, I don't want to ever do that. So I didn't party as much as I probably should have because I was deathly afraid.
But they were really giving you a true insight of what actually happens in the military, because that's what a lot of people do. They go out all night, especially in Europe, Germany. I mean, I did it. You go out all night. The clubs close at 5. You got to get back for PT at 6:30, or go run the DFAC at 6, and that's the Army life, right? I mean,
Nuts.
yeah.
Yes. I can't
How
do that anymore.
Seriously, I mean, as you get older, you're like, I'm not doing that. I need my sleep. I need water. I can't get up wasted like that. You're just miserable. But when you're 28 or 21 to 25 or whatever, you're doing that. But no, that's cool. How was your time at Arizona State? What'd you like about it? What'd you not so much like about it?
I thought it was a very good school. I mean, I was actually a double major at the time. It was psychology and photography, totally two different things.
Okay.
But I dropped photography and stuck with psychology and did ROTC. I couldn't handle all the things. I was never a good student, so I try to keep up. I just needed to graduate, right? I just need to graduate and move on. So I do like the Tempe area. I mean, they've grown a lot and expanded the school, so it's pretty awesome to see what they've done up until present day. So I mean, I would have loved for my kids to go, but they're like, we're not going to Arizona. So yeah,
Where you from originally?
I was raised in California, Southern
Oh, okay.
California.
Okay, so you stayed on that side. And where are you at now in the world?
I'm in Texas near the old Fort Hood, Fort
Okay.
Cavazos.
Okay. All right. So what did you want to be a chemical officer, or did that sort of get thrown on your lap?
No, so when you get to put in for your choices, that was number 6 because there was only so many choices for females at the time. So
Okay.
my first choice was military intelligence, and then military police, engineer, field artillery, chemical. I got chemical, branch detailed, military intelligence.
Okay.
So I could have transferred out to or branch detailed out to MI, but my daughter was only a year at that time, and I was in Germany, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to have to go back to the States for school and not have her with me. So it was just adulting decision
You just
making
stuck it
crap.
out.
I just toughed it out and I stayed chemical.
What was your first duty station?
It was Germany.
What part?
Hanau.
Oh, they shut that down, I think. That was a
They, they
smaller base back in the day, right?
they did. They shut it down.
How'd you like Europe?
I loved it, but I did not get to explore as much because I was trying to figure out how to be a brand new lieutenant, a brand new spouse, a brand new mom, all at the same time. So I didn't get to do as much, but I did enjoy it.
So you had a perfect storm going on, the holy
Oh,
trinity, mom, lieutenant, spouse, all at the same time. What was the
all
hardest one to juggle?
I, you know, trying to be a mom, a young mom, and be the best leader I could be, because you don't want to disappoint your boss or your soldier, so you're trying to figure out like who can watch the kids and how long can they watch them, so I can make sure that I'm at work when I need to be. So it was that I think that was the toughest thing to do at 23 and 25, is trying to juggle all that. And
And you're dual military, right? Your husband was military too
yes, he
at the
still
time?
is. Yeah,
Dual
dual
military.
military. That was hard. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's
definitely
it's tough, especially going all the way to Germany. I mean, I wouldn't even expect someone to even get stationed over there. First things first, you'd figure you'd maybe stay stateside, have daycare, have, the school system and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a lot to juggle at once. But you kept going. I mean, you did 17 years. So what was your mindset like during those first couple years that got you through it and just make that ultimately helped you become the best version of you?
once I got used to the battle rhythm of how what I needed to do in the army, and how to make sure my kids were taken care of. I was inspired by my husband's drive at the time. What he wanted to do, because I was so nonchalant with my life. I'm like, "Oh, try it out." I was not mature. I had no like I didn't I you couldn't ask me if I was going to retire, cuz I would have been like, "I don't know." And so I kind of followed him around, and watching him, excel in his positions. I thought, you know what? I want to be a company commander. I want to do that too. And so I worked hard to be all those things. And it was just that motivation factor of, well, I can do that too. And so I just being stubborn, I think had a lot to do with it. I just got used to trying to prove myself until the very end, and then it's just hard. I love my soldiers. I think that's one of the biggest things for me, is having them. They changed me a lot, and I loved having that family.
Yeah, and you had to kind of grow up pretty fast, being a
I
young
did.
lieutenant and stuff like that. I mean, I had my son after I got out of the army, but I was 28, but I still had to grow up. That made
Yeah.
having a kid makes you, for the most people, you're gonna, oh, I gotta stop doing this. I gotta stop spending money here. I gotta do this. So your mindset was shifted at a young age, and
It was.
it seemed like you took charge and made it happen. Did you deploy to Iraq or Afghanistan out of Germany, or did you end up PCSing somewhere else?
I PACS right before they went to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So I didn't deploy until 2005.
Okay. How
Yeah.
was that? Where you Iraq first?
Iraq first. That was very scary for me. My kids were 3 and 5, and I deployed first. My husband deployed 6 months later, and then his brother deployed right after that. So my kids
Wow.
only. So it was just it was a big change. Going over there, I was a company commander, so being responsible for 100 people was like, oh my god, it was a lot. But it was, I'm not going to say it was fun. It was interesting to experience a deployment like that. Luckily or fortunately, we were in a green zone, but we still did convoy. So that was scary. But I did have to grow up a lot then. And I turned 30 in Iraq. But even then, I was like, man, I have to make sure everyone comes back. I went to
Seriously.
like, I went to like 85% of all convoy briefings because I wanted to be there. I wanted to make sure I knew where they were going. I even went on a couple of them. So I was just like constantly all in because I wanted to learn what they were doing, but it was scary as hell to be on a
Yeah.
convoy at night.
What where did you get hung up on one of the longer deployments, like of 12 months or longer? Because my first deployment was Iraq, and we were supposed to do 15 months, and we got blessed to 13 and a half, and we thought we just took over the world going home a month and a half early. What about you?
No, we 12 months.
12 months. That's a
12
long
months.
time though. I mean,
It's
they
still
cut
a
it
long
down
time.
drastic. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, we got how was your did you guys get like shot at or anything like that going in? My first experience on a C-130 from Kuwait to Iraq was getting shot at and doing a combat landing. I joke about it now, but like you said you were scared as hell, and so was I, and we haven't even touched the ground yet. So it's like it really gets real over there fast. And being a company commander, I'm sure you have a ton of stories more than me. Talk a little bit about just getting over there and really getting the lay of the land and just being in a war zone.
Afghanistan was worse for me, but in Iraq, we had mortars. We definitely had
Absolutely.
mortars come in our area, but I just the feeling that you get when you're in a convoy at night or during the day, no matter what, because things can happen. I think that it heightens your awareness so much that even if you're tired, you just can't sleep. You're so mentally
Oh yeah, you're
exhausted.
up. Yeah.
That was insane. But even before we got there, being in Kuwait and having to go through all those um, pre-deployment briefings and all that still was just, even as a young kid, I had soldiers that were 19. Even then,
Yeah.
it's a whole different world for them, for anybody to go you get brought in at night, or you get brought in at a certain time of day in
Yeah.
a bus, not knowing where you're going, and then you end up there at 3 in the morning. You're
Yeah.
delirious, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're delirious, and you're like, where are we, and why are we coming in? It just messes with your mind so much.
Yeah, you gotta carry like 10 different bags with you. You can't look out the windows of
Oh,
the bus. You got someone sitting at the
yes.
front arm guard of the bus going to Camp Buring. The food's good once you get there, but
Right.
it's short lived. You're there for like a week or two or whatever. You do
Yeah.
the rollover training and this and that, and then you get put on the plane and it feels like it's a million degrees. And yeah, it's. I mean, I think I was 19. I think when we went over there, so it's like it is a total wake up call, to say the least. What do you miss about being a company commander?
All my soldiers. I really loved being with them. Go
You talk
get
to a
the
lot of them still?
Yeah, I do actually.
Good.
I talked to still a handful of that, like 5 or 6 that are still around and that are still on social media, and that just really, it just warms my heart. It sounds cheesy, but it really does, to be able to have that kind of influence, because you never know. You try to be the best leader you can, but you
Yeah.
never truly know what kind of impact you make, because you leave and you move on to something else. But to hear from them, what I was able to do for them, that just makes all the difference in the world. So I absolutely loved it. And what's funny is that chemical officers not everybody gets command. And so
Okay.
when I was able to get command, it was just like a complete shock and a blessing, and I loved every minute of it.
So talk a little bit about being dual military and then literally going on deployment. His husband probably has the kids and he goes. It's like, they talk about family care plan and all that stuff is fine and dandy. They want you to have it in place, but I mean that's easier said than done if you're juggling being a mom and a dad and the company commander at the same time. What was your mindset like going through that? I mean, it must have been hard, but what got you through and to the promised land? Only to land yourself on another deployment to Afghanistan.
I the hardest parts were when we went to school. We went to officer basic training, and I had to find a provider that could watch them when we have to go to the field at 4 in the morning, and then who can watch
Mm,
them at 6 when we go to PT. So it was very difficult because I always, I don't know if it was a mom instinct, but I took the burden, not the burden, but I took the responsibility on of making sure the kids were taken care of. My husband's 18 months, he was 18 months senior ranking to me. So I always felt like, well, his job is important. And I kind of just, I didn't really, I kind of downplayed my role in the army because I just felt like, well, mine's not as important as his. And so that was my mindset for a while. So it's very difficult because I would do anything for the kids, and I'm not saying that my peers didn't, but I didn't I didn't hire an au pair. I didn't hire a nanny. I took on the responsibility. So I think that kind of hindered some of my leadership roles because I did that. And I don't know if I would have changed if I would have made any changes, but it sucked. It
yeah.
sucked. It was hard. There was many times where he could not pick up the kids, and I just went, got him, brought him back to the office. We lived off of McDonald's. I mean, there was just times that just it sucked so bad. And
Uh,
I don't know how I made it through. I mean, my mom in 2005, she ended up moving here, bought a house, and lived here so that she could take care of the kids while we were both deployed.
No, you need that respect to your mom for doing it. You need that
For
support
real.
system. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen my own friends, like husband and wife duo, and they were on the enlisted side, but it doesn't matter because your PT's the same time. You're dropping your kids off at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning at daycare, and then
Yep.
they got to sit there till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. And then it's like, what if they got volleyball practice? It's a crazy lifestyle. So respect
Yes.
to you and your husband and everybody else that did it as a mom or a dad or a single parent. It's a tough
Yes.
life in the military with kids, especially in the time of war. So I mean, yeah, respect to everybody out there doing it and yet to do it. So it's no easy task, but neither is anything good in life. Nothing good is easy, so you got to work at it. But yeah, I had to ask you that. So
Yeah.
how'd you get so lucky to come upon Afghanistan?
Funny story is I actually volunteered for it.
Okay.
I know, I know. Let's talk about this. So I was rear detachment, and I stayed back with amazing leaders. But what took a toll on me was I ended up being a casualty assistance officer, a casualty notification officer, and I did that a few times, and it took a toll on me. And
Mm.
I started to feel like I can't do this back here. I need to go forward. I don't know why. I need to go forward. I need to feel like I got to get out of this space because it's hard as hell trying to notify somebody and then having to be that person to actually help them through the process when they lose somebody. I couldn't do it anymore. I asked my brigade commander, can I please come forward? He found a slot for me. I went once for about 3 months. I went back again for another 4 months. And, I and that wasn't even easy either. So I go forward, we lose soldiers. No one knows how to process it. We don't talk about it. It messes up with my mind for years later because I didn't know how to handle a death that just happened 5 minutes ago. And I also volunteered to go on FOB recons because I wanted to go see where our soldiers were at. We had people in 9 provinces, and I just felt, I don't know, I needed to go forward to see how it was to be in a different place. My mindset was jacked up. It was just not it was just not good overall, but I was able to get to see what not everybody sees. You know, our soldiers living on mountaintops, our soldiers living under a freaking wood hut
Yeah.
in the snow, boiling water. I needed to see that, and I wanted to be there to support that because we don't, not everybody gets to see that, you know. And so I don't know. I was crazy. I was crazy for volunteering. I was crazy for going back twice. Um, would I have changed it? Probably, because that was the start of my downhill battle with PTSD and all the things. But I will always have respect for, you know, our soldiers that are out there in places that are not talked about on the news. So it's just overall, my brigade lost 30 soldiers, and
Damn.
I just, you know, my brigade commander was an amazing leader, and how he handled it, I don't know. But damn, I don't know. That was a hard one.
All right. I mean, geez, like I went to Afghanistan too. I was there twice. I was in RC South, and then in the middle of like you said, in the middle, I was at a fob, a Marine fob. I was at fob Leatherneck, and then after that, my last deployment, I went to we were in the middle of nowhere, like you said, like these little cops and outposts that the infantry's at that they have. You got to take a helicopter to get to, and there's no other way to get there. You know what I mean? So you go there, and you really see like, holy shit, this is crazy because when you go to a fob, you got the chow hall, you got hot showers, you getting mail. It's not the same for everybody. So I mean, there's probably not there even a lot of females that would have done what you done. So I mean, it seems like you turned on your leadership to the full speed ahead, and you just got out there, and that just goes to show what type of leader and person you are. And you're right. A lot of people don't know how to process death. I mean, you just go to the ramp ceremony, you cry, you sit there, and you go back, and these people aren't there. The 30 people you guys lost aren't there. But like in the military, you know, it's a common denominator. You got to swallow. People are scared to swallow their pride. People are scared to process bad things. You can process a council statement. You can chew someone's ass. But what about like something death, or what about transition, or what about mental health? All those stigmas aren't talked about because it's looked at as being weak. And the reality, we have to flip the switch and actually say, no, you're actually strong for doing that. You're actually a good leader for doing that, because if we don't process it, it's going to catch up to us, right? You said that was the start of the downhill slope, and I wanted to ask you, like, what did that look like for you?
Oh, you know, I was on Jalalabad, so it was an airfield, so we couldn't leave unless it was through a convoy or, you know, a Black Hawk. So I didn't know how to process a lot of things. I acted out of character. I did not act myself. I tried to numb the pain by doing really stupid things, and I ruined my marriage. And you know, I thought I could handle things. I thought I could handle this shit. I don't need anybody, you know. And I didn't know how to talk about it because you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about it. We lost somebody. We lost 3 people on one mission, and everybody's just, you're the first thing you do is you scatter and you try to focus on, okay, how do we bring the rest in, and how do we fix this, and so we didn't get to sit down and talk about it. So I had no escape, and I acted like a fool, and I did. And so I think it's important to talk about how all those things, if you don't get it fixed, if you don't talk to somebody, if you don't learn how to process it, you can really mess your life up. And that's what I did. I did. I it will never be the same, and it's unfortunate, but I never sought the therapy that I needed because I thought I could handle it myself.
So if you could give someone advice right now, you know, that maybe trying to process something or yet to process it, or, you know, even went through something similar, what would you give them from learning and living through your own experiences and trauma?
There is no shame to seek a counselor, a therapist. There isn't. Like, you might feel like you could handle it yourself at the moment. It's temporary, but what's going to happen later when you're really in the midst of a dark depression, or, you know, numbing your pain with alcohol or pills? Like, there's no way out after that. You need
Seriously.
you need to swallow your pride. You do. You need to realize that you can't do everything yourself. And it's okay to talk to somebody. And I had come back from that deployment and didn't mark no on all the, you know what
Oh,
I
but
mean?
everyone did though. It was like, oh, we're at SRP day 2. We're gonna have to go through. If you, hey, the least you tell them, you're gonna get out of here faster. You're gonna be able to go and drink and catch up on the whole year you just missed. We all did it. We're all guilty of it. We did it every time. Whether it's your company commander or a major or a friggin' private, everyone did it. The sergeant major was doing it. He was a hard ass. So it's like, who really, you got to change the narrative, man. It's crazy because I'm sure you talked to hundreds of or thousands of veterans. I've talked to a fair share of them now doing this show, and you just get spit out. It doesn't matter if you're the Space Force. It doesn't matter if you're the Air Force. It doesn't matter if you're the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard. I haven't had a Coast Guard on, but I'm sure it's the same. You just get spit out when your time's over. It's just the nature of the beast. It's a system. It's a I don't know. It's sad, but like I would do the same thing. I would say, you know what? Let me just go ahead and talk to somebody now before you try to, do the wrong thing. And then if you do the wrong thing and get hung up on you could get in trouble when you could have mitigated and just seeked help.
Exactly.
What was the aha moment for you to turn the switch though?
Oh my gosh. I don't even, there was a few times where I was reminded that, ending your life wasn't the answer, or I was in a very bad car accident that kind of woke me up as well. And then even now, there's things I can't change, but I can only change myself. So it's very difficult. And I think, my kids, now that they're older, they're 21 and or will be 21 and 23. My daughter told me a couple years ago what she saw. I thought I was just having a glass of wine. What she saw was I drank the whole bottle
Mm.
on a regular basis. So little things like that in my life that sparked the holy crap, that I really do that. That's what made me start to change. I wrote the book, she read it, she didn't know half of it. And so I think it was just time for me to go, look, man, this kind of shit could happen to you, but nobody wants to talk about it because they're afraid of losing their clearance, or of being judged, or feeling embarrassed, or all these things. But I realize I don't want my kids to think this is okay. I want them to be respectful humans, but to also be respected. It's okay to make a mistake, but how are you going to come from it? I made more than my fair share of mistakes, but how did I come back from it? And that's what I want them to see. And I have a grandson now. He's only 3 months old, but I want him to know that grandma went through crap, but she came back from it. And so leaving a legacy is important for me. And if I have to share my truths and show people that, social media only shows so much, then, maybe it'll save somebody.
For real, because most times social media people are just showing the best version of themselves. That's bullshit.
Always.
You just
Yep.
show the real you, show the negative, because we all have it. We've all made mistakes. We've all got in trouble, but it doesn't. That's life. No, if someone's gonna judge you, who cares about that person? Because who are we to judge? It doesn't matter. Everyone's wrong.
Right.
We all make good and bad choices, but that hits hard though. Yeah, because when you're going through it, like you said, you're drinking that one glass of wine or the whole bottle, really. But you say, "Oh, it's only one glass." But like, wow, like coming from your kid, your own family, that
Yep.
probably hit hard. When did you write the book? Were you still in the military, or were you already out?
No, I was out. I wrote it in 2021.
Okay, where can someone
Yeah.
find that? Where can someone find that at if they want to get it and read a copy?
You can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
You can. And Audible, because I did narrate it. So there
Oh,
is
nice.
you
There you
can
go.
also listen to it too.
What okay, let's go back a little bit while you're still in the military. You come back from Afghanistan. You still you thinking I'm doing the military for good? Like how many years are you in, and like what's your mindset on making it in the career? Are you saying, "Hey, I got to get out of here," because you did quite a while in. So what was next for you in service?
So after Afghanistan, I went to, it's called Command General Staff College. I went to ILE. CGST in Kansas. So when you get promoted to major, you get to go on, not you get the opportunity to go to ILE. So I did that, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with it. I've got this, I'm okay. And so I did that, and then it just moved on from there. And I thought, I'm gonna stay in as long as I can, because promotions come up and you're like on you're losing sleep hoping that you're going to make that list.
Yeah.
And so that's how the rest of my career went, was just like, okay, did I make it to the next step? And then 2016 hit, and I did not make the next rank, and I was given the opportunity to retire. So I got to actually retire.
Before that opportunity, did you ever think about what life would look like outside of the military?
I did not. I I thought maybe I would come back and be a GS civilian or a contractor, because I wanted to continue to work with soldiers and training and prepping them for deployment. So I had a little idea in my head of what I could do, but when I got passed over, I didn't have time to think. I had 6 months to get out, and that
Man.
just, yeah, it was rough. It was so rough. And so all those plans went away, because now I was trying to figure out, what the hell am I going to do in 6 months?
So what'd you end up doing in 6 months? What'd you end up doing?
I went into a dark depression. I did. I
Damn.
did. For months, I felt like a failure. I didn't go to my retirement ceremony. I
Wow.
wanted nothing to do with no one, because I was so heartbroken and mad at the world. And so, by 2017, that's when I decided I need to talk about it. And that's when I created the blog and the website, and then I went on to other ventures after that, because I couldn't hold it in anymore, and I had to find an outlet. And I decided that my outlet was going to share it with the world,
Heck yeah.
and then we went from there.
So looking back on it, what would you have done differently in your transition? Obviously, you do the retirement ceremony, but on a deeper level, how was your full transition? Did you go get VA? Did you go get your disability claims in? Did you take care of all that stuff, or was it something that just you brushed over like me and said, screw that, I don't need the VA, and then you said, holy shit, I need the VA, and then kind of what's your take on that?
So I did use the VA for
Okay,
all my ratings, but then
right,
after that, I was like, screw the
damn,
VA. I was, because I kept hearing horror stories,
right,
and
right, right,
and in my mind, well, I'm still a dependent. I'm going to use TRICARE, because
yeah.
for some reason I'm getting taken care of better that way. So that's what I did for just up until this year. Last year, actually, is when I was like, I should probably look at the VA, because I don't know what life is going to be like in the next year or two. So I did get my disability, and I did get my retirement. So I'm okay, but I wish I would have talked to somebody then, to get my mindset right, because I was so angry. I did not prepare myself for what was to come. I was just like, fuck this, fuck that. I'm just
I
like,
feel you. I feel you. Like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Like, yeah. I was with you too. I was getting drugged to the field to the last minute. They didn't. I got like 30 days to clear the base, and I don't blame anyone. We can't blame anybody but ourselves. But there should have been a better job of. Everyone needs to understand, whether you're a commander or a general or a friggin' private, your time's coming.
it
You know what I
it
mean?
is. And I didn't have anybody to sit down with me and be like, okay, are you gonna be okay? Are you good? Like, talk me through the process. The only sit down I had was when my I think it was the chief of staff of JRTC, where I was at, where he sat me down and was like, okay, so you didn't make the list. That was really it. And then, TAPS, they only prepare you for how to dress for an interview, how to act when an interview. Okay, let's talk about the shitstorm that's about to happen when you
Yeah.
have lost your identity. Nobody talks about that. And
True.
so, that needs to happen, not the interview process only. Like we need to,
Yeah,
and
or the
don't
resume, but like so you didn't really know about skill bridge or like training with industry. I mean, you literally had 6 months, which is what you get for skill bridge. So if you would have had a year, you maybe could have stumbled across something like skill bridge and could have got into a company and had 6 months to train up. But like,
exactly.
yeah,
I
you
didn't
didn't
have that.
really. Your time was limited. So
Nope, didn't have any of that. I would have loved to have had an opportunity like that, but it was like, here's
seriously,
15 websites. Go to these websites and start looking. Okay.
right, right. That's wild. What I bet your kids were happy though. Get
uh
their mom full time. Get them or.
they know, and that was one of the blessings I was trying to appreciate, was being able to go to any game I wanted. I didn't have to find out if I was going to get off in time or if I had a meeting, and so that was
Absolutely.
that was a good thing. I was able to go to anything I wanted whenever I wanted.
Seriously. I guarantee if I was going to ask you what's one thing you miss about the military and one thing that you don't miss minus the phone calls you got as a commander or officer, like on the weekends, what give me one thing you miss and one thing you don't miss. And actually, I'm going to make it a little bit tough for you because everyone says camaraderie, so we got to dig a little bit deeper here because we're diving in and stuff like that. So give me one thing you miss minus camaraderie and one thing you don't miss minus the phone calls.
I love being able to make that just a little impact in what we did. I worked at JRTC, so being able to make an impact in the training or being able to escort someone that was coming to look at our facilities. I loved being able to be a part of something like that, especially at that level in the G3 shop. So I miss that. I miss working with the people. I miss, being out there with our soldiers. I miss being able to see what we're doing for training and all that. What I don't miss is the last minute shit. We're having a meeting at
uh,
7. We're having a meeting at 1700 now because nobody was available during the day. Awesome. And so, that's
Meanwhile, you got to
not.
go get your kids or cook dinner or do some mom
Yeah.
stuff for the last few hours of the day. And oh no, we're gonna go ahead and have it. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. And so in my mind, I'm like, are we going to be done in 10 minutes? Because I got to go. But there's nothing I can do,
no, I'll
Yeah.
blame you on that. So you said you started the blog, you started doing your podcast. What did you first think of that when you started it? You just said it was an outlet, but did you ever think it was going to get as big as it is now? Because I mean, you're doing big things, and you're making the difference. So
I had no idea. I just wanted a space for those who don't like to be on live video, or who want to be anonymous, or who just wanted a space to talk. And that's really what I wanted, because and not even just the military environment. There's other people out there that are suffering as well, but they don't want to talk about it because people are judgy.
right.
And so what can I do to kind of help alleviate that? What kind of community can I create? And so that's really what I wanted to do. And I didn't know what I was doing. I don't have fancy equipment. I got like Amazon microphone and my laptop. So
Yeah.
I wasn't in it to make money. I wasn't in it to be like top rated podcast. I just wanted a place for people to share their story because, I want their voices heard. That was really it.
Yeah, and what's came out of it so far? You've been at it for a couple of years, but what are some of the biggest takeaways that you could say that have came from your podcast, your blog, your writing? And two-part question: did you ever think you were going to be an author?
No, I did not think I was going to be an author. That was scary as hell. Um, it was very scary because, again, I get imposter syndrome, and then I also get the fear of, well, what if they don't like it? What if they're like, oh God, I didn't realize that you went through that, or I didn't realize you were that type of person. All those things come into my mind, but I had the support of my kids and my mom, and so I think that's what made a difference. And then the podcasting and the speaking and all that stuff, I really didn't know what I wanted. No, I take that back. I didn't know what was going to come of it. I just knew that I wanted to help people use their voice. And it was part of my own self-healing journey too. So me helping other people makes me happy, makes my heart full. Like I love being able to help people. That's why, I've been mentoring with Federati for so long, because it just makes me so happy to hear somebody go, "Oh yeah, I totally want to do it now." Like, I will cheer you on like no other. I just
Heck
don't do
yeah.
it to myself. I don't practice what I preach. I'm so
I
bad at
think
it.
we're all guilty of that though, right? You like you want to see other people succeed, but like you said, it's imposter syndrome. It's like, oh, what if they don't? Who gives a damn? Someone's gonna like you. Like if we just I did the same thing. You get on here and you think like, oh, someone's gonna judge me. Who cares? Maybe we're not for everybody, but if we help one person, and that's all that matters. We're just being ourselves. And you're a leader in the military. I mean, me too. And just continue to lead. That we don't have to have the uniform on. We don't have to take the phone
Right.
calls or have the last minute meetings. We could do it with the podcast, a blog, or getting on all those all those things you got, Veterati, the TAPS, military spouse, entrepreneurs, women's veteran network. So like you're plugged in and making it happen. And I'm sure that you love to see people succeed. And
I do.
what would you tell a veteran, that may be struggling some of these programs? Like, would you recommend, getting into them, or, what's your advice for them?
I really would. I didn't know about all that years ago. It was just 4 years ago or 5 years ago when I found Veterati. But one of the things that really made a difference in my life is continuing to serve. And I know everybody's like, "Oh, I continue to serve out of uniform." No, but it's true. Like, if you go in there and you find your people that are like-minded and like-hearted, that want the same mission as you, it makes all the difference. It's about who you surround yourself now.
That's
And
true.
I no longer need 500 friends. I need just like that five that are there for me no matter what. And you can find that by giving back, and you mentoring, or you find uh a veterans group, or whatever. I think that makes all the difference. I didn't have that mindset back then because I was so angry. And so over the years, I realized that I needed to surround myself around other people who also want to make a difference. And that really does it. Being lonely and isolating yourself, it won't do anything for you, because I've done it. I'm a pro at
Man,
it.
I did the same thing. You get out miserable and you're trying to figure it and bouncing through jobs, and you don't. That's the thing about the military, that is it's a double edged sword. Like we all are connected, right? We all got a phone, right? We all got a computer in our pocket, but like at the same time, the thing I didn't really like about the military is that you create these great friendships and bonds, and then your ETS and your
Yeah.
PCS, and that's life. You can't. It's inevitable, but at the same time, it's like, damn, you probably had some of your best friends in the military, and you guys were best friends at that point in time, but life went on, and now that's no longer the case, and that's kind of
Right.
sad to me. But
It is.
um, I don't know. It's just really nothing you can do except try to stay connected. But it's like we're so connected as a world, but at the same time, there's so much disconnect. Everyone's scrolling TikTok, or watching watching everyone's best life on Instagram, but no
Right.
one's really trying. Not a lot of people are really trying to dive into the ugly truths behind all of it and try to fix the rooted problem. So hopefully they take heed and try to do that for themselves. It took me a while. I mean, I was miserable. I got out the army mad. I got out of the army angry. I was ready to go. I didn't give a damn. But if I could go back and do it again, I'd definitely do some stuff different as well.
I mean, and that's one reason why, and a lot of people make fun of me for it too. That's one of the reasons why I do so many things, is because I can. That's number one.
Yeah,
Number two is try it out. Try out all the things. Try out anything. When I went to music school, people were like, "What are you doing, dude? There's a method to my madness." But it's because I could. I could go. I'm gonna do it. Damn it! Like, you could do whatever you want, and just try it out. Try the podcast, try writing, try music, try whatever, until you figure out what really makes you happy. There's nothing wrong with that, and
yeah,
and I tell that to anybody. I don't have my niche. I do it all because it all comes back to
it all
mental health.
blends.
It all
Yeah,
blends.
there you go. And like you were saying, if you don't ever try it, you never know if you're gonna like it. A lot of people just analyze too much shit. I did it for
Right.
a lot of people do it for business. You overanalyze, analysis paralysis, but you never get going on nothing. It's never gonna be
Right.
the perfect time. It's never
Right.
going to matter if you got a Shure microphone. It doesn't matter if you have a Amazon microphone. It doesn't matter if you have a phone. It doesn't. None of that matters. Just do it. Your first 100, they say like your first 100 videos is going to suck. Your first 100 blog posts might suck. Your whatever, but it's better than not doing nothing. You're
You're
taking
right.
action, right? You're taking action. Who cares? So.
You're right.
But how is it being a spouse only now? Out of the you said your husband's still serving. He must be grinding it away. He's loving it or what?
He does love it. How do I? Gosh, it's so hard now because I try to be real and honest with everything that I do, and as I mentioned before, I ruined my marriage, and it's come back. And I'm actually going through divorce now, and so
Sorry to hear that.
no, I appreciate it, but it's just it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about because a lot of military spouses are ashamed to talk about what happens behind the scenes. And although I do put my life on blast. There's certain things that I respect and I don't talk about, but this is the one thing that has happened recently, and people need to know because we we need to stop being ashamed of what happens. The military had a big play in it. Our actions have had a big play in it, but it sucks. 25 years, and we just things happen, and it's sad, but it happens a lot more. I was reading statistics as of last year. 3% of the military families end up in divorce, military marriages, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's enough. Because we don't go to therapy. We don't talk about it. We hide everything. We are ashamed of it. We're embarrassed. We're afraid of being judged. So it's sad. I think we need to talk about it more. So unfortunately, I'm at the beginning stages of divorce, but the military needs to do better, and they need to do better about having these discussions with our families about not putting your career first, that you should really, it's not all about your job, but you have a family, little things like that. So I could talk about that all day. That's a whole new topic, a whole new discussion, but it's real and it's happening. And, I hope your listeners, they, they, they listen and they try to not don't be ashamed about talking about things that are very important to you and that are hidden in our military community.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. I didn't know that was what you're going through, and sorry to hear that. That's a lot of time. Maybe you never know. Maybe it'll turn around for you and
Yeah.
go the opposite direction. But I mean, I don't want to hit too hard on that. So
No, it's
sorry to
okay.
stir the pot, but I appreciate you sharing that because you're right. It does need to be talked about. Everything's not like rainbows and unicorns, right? Everyone thinks it's good. Oh, it's a major in a whatever, a general or a major in a colonel. They're making so much money. Like money is nothing
It's
if you
not.
don't have the time or you don't have the relationship or one's getting pulled one way, one's getting deployed the other way. It's a tough life having
It is.
been in the military, honestly. And you're right.
It is.
This day and age, a lot of marriages, even outside the military, are failing. It seems like the world is going away from the family unit, um, and that's a whole nother thing to say the least. I'm in a yeah. So
It
um,
is.
seriously, it's just crazy world we living in, and they're trying to do a lot of different things. A lot of things are on an agenda. Hopefully, people are waking up and taking action in their own life. So,
Yes.
what's next for you though? What's next for you?
I want to make more music. So I have two singles out and they're both on Spotify and iTunes and all that, but I want to make more. I love putting my words into some kind of song. So I want to do that. And that's another form of healing. And so I'm going to continue to do that and just, work on myself, focus on my kids and my grandson. So
They're gonna need you for
big,
the grandbaby. You better get ready. It's like they're
I
gonna need you.
I can't wait. I love being a grandma, even though he's, little, doesn't know, but still.
No, you know it though. You got two grown up kids now. It goes. My son's 7. I was like, holy shit, he's gonna be 8 this year. It's
Yeah.
like where'd the time go? I mean, I felt like
I,
I was in the army for 8 years. That shit felt like 20. So Like, hold on now. Hold on.
I I know my son's going to be 21, and already I asked him. I was like, "Can mom buy you your first drink?" Like, what happened? He was just a baby.
For real, changing diapers. Now you got a grandkid, but congratulations to you on the new addition. I'm sure they're happy
Thank
that you're
you.
not in the uniform and having to go off,
Yes,
and you can be there and help them out because they're gonna need the help. So not
absolutely.
um well, yeah, your artist name is Ann Witt,
It is.
Annwhitt. So go look her up. She's dropping the mixtape soon. I might need you. I might need to get you to do a little something for my. I got to do an intro or something for my podcast. I got one made on Spotify. Excuse me, on like Fiverr, but I need to work. I want to work with a veteran that can. I don't know. I got no skills in that aspect, but we might need to collab in the future. So
That would be
be on the
awesome.
lookout. We're gonna get you on there somehow. But
I
yeah,
love
no,
it. Thank you.
no problem. But no, it's been awesome talking to you. I feel like you got a great story. You've been very vulnerable. You've been open, which is great. You haven't come on here and just, I don't think anyone's come on here and just said everything's amazing. No, there's been
No.
people talk about suicide, divorce, uh, all that stuff. And that's the real reality of life in the military, life after the military. Not like, oh, you guys are veterans, you get the best opportunities, or oh, you join the military and someone left a comment on one of the videos the other day. I think it was kind of cool. And he said he was in the military. He said that I joined the military to be babysat by the government, and that's furthest from the point. I went off on that dude. I don't know who the hell he is. I challenge that man to come on this show and
Seriously.
come share your story, dude. You watched a 1 minute clip, and it kind of got my blood boiling because like that's not who I am. But I guess if you got the haters, that means you're doing something right. I'm on here trying to help people and change the narrative. And I feel like we should all be doing the same thing. You shouldn't be trying to pull someone that's down, or another brother or sister in arms, dude. That's like the wrong thing to do. But I guess that's kind of funny to me. It's still on my mind, but it's all good. Now, but
And
like I
that
said, good.
no. I was just gonna say I saw something on Facebook, I don't know, a week ago that says, well, you could have joined the army too. This is why not everybody joins. They do not know the reality of how it is to serve. So
Yeah.
they can say whatever they want. We
No,
know the
dude was in
truth.
the military. Dude was in the military.
Oh
He said
no.
so like, man, I challenge you to come on here and share your story, my boy. Like share let me know because it's not all great. He said, oh, he had great transition. Hey, good for you, buddy. Hey, good for you.
Yeah, that's
Like,
good.
I mean, that's awesome, but not everyone had the opportunity. Did you deploy? Did you get drugged to the field until 30 days before your ETS date? I mean, if you're not the commander or you're not a first sergeant, you don't dictate what you do. You fall in the ranks, and then they sort of tell you what to do. But no,
Yeah.
that's a little rant for the day. But I don't really try to get down like that. But I guess it's still on my mind that just came out. But it is what it is. What school did you do ROTC at? What college?
At Arizona State.
Oh, you went back. You couldn't get enough of it.
I,
No. I'm saying, oh, when you served in ROTC as an officer, you went back to Arizona State too.
no. I did college and ROTC all at once.
No, I thought you did like I thought you were working with ROTC like when you were like a major or something like that.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, my
I
bad.
went
I
to
misunderstood.
that was the CGSD schooling in Kansas.
Okay, no, my bad.
Okay.
I thought you might have got like orders to go work at like a college as a officer already. That would have been
Oh no,
yeah, my
that would
bad.
have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
Would you have picked Arizona State to go back to if you could have?
I would have. I would have. It was
There you go. Sun
yeah.
Devils, man. Go Sun Devils. But no, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on. My bad about the rant. Appreciate you
Oh
listening
no,
for the 35 seconds. But yeah, I hope we can stay in contact. I hope that,
for
if you
sure.
guys listen to this far, you see the email and the name thing right there, the real 1% one at gmail.com. Drop a line, share your story. If you want to get on the podcast, I'd be more than happy to have you on. Annette would probably be more than happy to have you on her podcast. I'm trying to have at least 22 veterans a month come on, share their story. Let's change the narrative from 22 veterans today that are committing suicide. There's even more first responders. So we got to change that narrative. There's programs out here for veterans. There's opportunities. There's jobs. You just got to get involved with the right people, find the right resources, and taking your life isn't the answer, no matter how hard you think you got it. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So Hopefully you guys got some value from this episode. I surely did. But I want to leave it in your court, leave the ball in your court. If you got anything in that we may have left out, and we'll wrap it up for the show.
No, thank you so much for having me on. And I always try to help people through their struggle. There's always you're here for a reason. And so if you ever want to reach out, even anonymously, I've had people do that. Always reach out and I will listen.
Okay, appreciate you sharing that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Keep challenging yourself to become the best version of you no matter what you do, and have a blessed day. Thank you all for listening in. Take care.